Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises, Most High Yahweh, acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. And we're going to get into some history, some hidden history, and we're going to see how these churches have infiltrated all these different aspects of life. People who represent these churches, who have been our enemies this whole time, have they pretty much permeated all different aspects of life. They were definitely in all different aspects of the political spectrum. It was much more than just religious power. They also controlled um, politics as well, and policing, and many other various forms of government. They were represented by the Catholic Church in the past, and it hasn't changed. There's still many people uh, in these religious institutions are still in different parts of social life, political life as well. They're all professed to be Christians, and there's no difference between the Catholics and the Christians. They're all still part of the Psalms 83 Confederate against the Most High's chosen people. So just because they have different names, they go by, different names, different religions, different sects, it doesn't matter because they still are all Confederate against one chosen people. Now, if they can present themselves and do some positive, and they've done positive things before. The vast majority of the time, they do positive things for each other. All the while they've been exploiting the Most High's chosen people. In order for with that whole right side of thinking, and the right brain of thinking, actually no, left side, left side of thinking, right, reading from left to right, writing from left to right. It's more competition instead of cooperation. And if you tie the hands behind a person's back and you tell them to fight you, but you don't give them, you tie their hands behind their back and they have no way of defending themselves, then you're able to do whatever it is that you want to do without worrying about any counter punches or any counter moves or anything like that. And that's exactly what has happened for the last few hundred years. While we're going through our curses, the other nations hamstringed us and took away our connection with the Most High, or the Most High turned His face away from us and allowed them to. Ultimately, it was not them. Ultimately, it was the Father that put us through this test. But one of the subscribers from the channel shared an, uh, an amazing book, and I'm going to share it with you right now. And thank you, sister, for sharing this. Vaticanism, Unmasked, or Romanism in the United States. Man, I'm telling you, what the Most High has done has been absolutely awesome, because it was like they don't know exactly who wrote this book. They said it was like a Puritan, okay, in the 1800s. But I'm assuming that he must have been like a Christian, and that he was actually going against the Catholics, or the Roman Catholics and things like that. So what the Most High does is he pits them against one another in order for one group to expose the other. While we're eventually, while at that time, we were busy still going through the curses, still being put down, so we weren't able to get this information. But the Most High made it so that when it is time for us to awaken, that this information was going to come back to us as a people. It's kind of like watching a fight, and we're sitting in the stands on the side, just watching the fight. We don't have any, we're just kind of watching it going on in the 1800s, but we don't have any skin in the game. We don't really trust either group or whatever else, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And these two groups, the Romans and the Catholics, man, they were just going at it, and they were just exposing each other left and right, because they both seem to think that they are representing God, and so they think that they're fighting for their God, and they're exposing the devil, so they're going at it with each other. So we're going to take a look at how the Vatican, Rome, the church was actually supporting the party that supported slavery in the South. So it's showing you how the Vatican was pretty much pro-slavery. Now, I mean, see, they try to make it sound as if they're universal and they're for equal rights and they're for everyone being equal and everything else. That's what they portray on television. That's what they would portray on Sunday mornings. But their actions have been the total opposite. With their papal bulls and given justification for with their doctrine of discovery to pretty much go wherever they wanted to, and if anyone did not agree or agree to convert to their religion, they were pretty much not even a human being. You could do whatever it is that you want to them. And I was just, they just set that up so that they would have an excuse to, do whatever they wanted to do in the first place. That's what they plan to do in anyways. They just try to make it all legal with these papal bulls and everything. So they tried to justify it, or they were just justifying what they were already going to do in the first place. And it was already ordained that they were going to do these things because it was already written in Scripture. But they just wanted to show that they had some legal, justification for the things that they were doing. So if you look at the history of the church, it has never been about, universalism. It has never been about equal rights. It's never been about, everything being fair. That's why when you hear these, people talking about reparations, and it's like, well, we don't even want to give people money, but we want to create some programs that benefit all Californians. And, and they'll say the same thing even nationwide. We don't want to, we can't give these people money. We can't try to, give them reparations. They won't know what to do with the money. So we're going to have to help them with that. So we're going to set up programs that benefit everyone. You see, I mean, you see how they twist everything. It sounds good, it sounds good, but that's not what actually ends up happening. When they had the opportunity to do the right thing, when they had the opportunity to worry about everyone having equal opportunity, they failed miserably. So as you're going to see right now, a Puritan of the 19th century, that's who wrote this, this book. And like I said, it's got so much information. I'm just going to touch on a little bit right here, and be looking for a live probably later on today. We can get together again and spend some time. We got some great comments and some great information from the live we did yesterday. And hopefully we can do the same again today. Most High willing, we'll be able to do that again today and bring out more understanding and bring out, the people just talking about the frequencies and how important they are. And I'm getting emails right now. I'm kind of going through some of those as well. So we can bring out even more information and more understanding. Because like I said, the Most High has blessed many of us with this information. And now we have an avenue and a place to actually share these thoughts and this information the Most High has given us. But let's continue. This is from 1877. Okay. This is pretty much the only page we're going to be looking at today. All right, let's start at the top. The character of the papal system unchanged. For the benefit of whom it may concern, we shall now show that the character of the papal system has never changed for the better in any essential particular, and that its modification in this republic is only temporary, and a necessary step to gain control of the civil power as an engine of force with which to suppress Protestantism. Now, they're always trying to make it sound like the church is against the Protestants, because they got to make it seem as if these two, entities are going against each other. But ultimately, we know that both of these churches are against the Israelites, because that's what Psalms 83 is about. It's not about them going after each other. It's about them, obliterating the name of Israel, obliterating the Israelites, disconnecting them from their power. That has been, their whole aim this whole time. And that's exactly what they have been. That's what they have accomplished. That's what they've been doing. Okay. Its affiliation with the pro-slavery party before the war, its rewards after. The slaveholders of the South were the natural allies of the Democratic Party and constituted its head, while its tail was in the North. The Roman Catholic Church was the natural ally of that party, and the price of its cooperation was the offices the party had in its power to bestow. If the Roman Catholic voters should be eliminated from the Democratic Party, the skeleton of the party only would remain a powerless wreck. During the dozen years of our sojourn in New York previous to 1872, the following facts were published in the newspapers of that city from time to time, showing the proportion of city offices held by Roman Catholics. Okay, in the Democratic Party, to wit, sheriff, register, comptroller, city chamberlain, corporation counsel, police commissioner, president of the Croton Board, acting mayor, president of the Board of Councilmen, clerk of the Common Council, clerk of supervisors, 5 justices of the court of record, all the civil justices, all the police justices but 2, all the police court clerks, 3 out of 4 coroners, 14/19 of the Common Council, and 8/10 of the supervisors. So as you can see how, the church has its tentacles all over the place. And do you think that that's really changed now? I said there's many people who are in many of these positions profess themselves to be Christians or Catholics, and that's really kind of like something that they all kind of have to, profess some kind of a religious affiliation. How they're God-fearing people, family men. They go to church on Sundays, and and they have to portray themselves that way because they have to show who they have allegiance to. No different than when a new president is elected and they have to go over and kiss the ring of the Pope. No different. It's just that, we thought we didn't have this deeper understanding of what is going on. And we didn't have this deeper understanding of where people's, where their allegiances lie. But now we can see because it's right out there. They know between each other where their allegiances lie. So because, they're all Psalms 83. Now check this out. In the years 1869, 1870, and 1871, out of the monies raised by tax on the property of New York City, the records show that 1.389 were paid to Roman Catholic institutions, and only 138,146 to Protestant and Hebrew institutions combined. Okay? Thus, the papists got over 90% of the appropriations. Now, think about that. I think about all that money back in the 1800s. Now it's funny how the Catholic Church cries poor all the time. But these guys have been, getting money hand over fist. This is not even counting people's, tithes and offerings when they go on Sundays. This isn't even talking about, other money that they've, donated to the church, during other times when they're getting, services done, when they're getting funerals done, they're doing confirmations, and they're doing all those things, and they require money for that, and people just passing away and leaving their, their inheritance to the church. I mean, this is just one small, aspect of how, they were getting money, pretty much buying votes, no different, right? So then, they would go to church, and a priest would tell them who they needed to vote for, and that was how, the slaveholders, had power in the North. This shows you how, the slaveholders and the Catholic Church were working hand in hand. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It will get you the votes, we'll get the people you want in. It says, but you start giving us these positions of power. Making sure that, people who were in these positions were Catholics, and their allegiance lied with the Catholic Church. So therefore, whatever the church told them to do, that's what they would do. So you imagine what they could do with that kind of money. That's just what, in one city. You don't think this was going on in multiple cities all over the place? And then happening also in Europe. No different. You see, like I said, so you can see how, you know, when you go back to the Book of Mormon, it talks about this church that was raised up by the devil, and all it's concerned with is money, you know, and all the whole world is pretty much behind this church because they put down the Israelites. You know, they had put down the Israelites, so hold on fast. So therefore, they got, you know, they got the blessing. They put down the Israelites, and they became, you know, the leader of the whole world. Let's read a little bit of that real fast from First Nephi 13. Okay, this is a Book of Mormon. First Nephi 13. Look, this church is making all this money. They are, you know, they are supporting slavery. This was prophesied in the Book of Mormon. It says First Nephi 13, verse 1. And it came to pass that the angel spake unto me, saying, Look. And I looked, and beheld many nations and kingdoms. And the angel said unto me, What beholdest thou? And I said, I behold many nations and kingdoms. And he said unto me, These are the nations of the kingdoms of the Gentiles. And it came to pass that I saw among the nations of the Gentiles the formation of a great church. And the angel said unto me, Behold the formation of a church, which is most abominable above all other churches, which slayeth the saints of the Most High. This church has been slaying our people, right? Yea, and tortureth them, and bindeth them down. And right here, bindeth us down, put us into slavery, put us into captivity. They had their hand in that as well. Okay? And yoketh them down with a yoke of iron, and bringeth them down into captivity. And it came to pass that I beheld this great and abominable church, and I saw the devil, that he was the founder of it. And I also saw gold and silver and silks and scarlets and fine twined linen and all manner of precious clothing. And I saw many harlots. You got your many harlots. You got your many other churches that bow down to this church of Satan. And the angel spake unto me, saying, Behold, the gold and the silver and the silks and the scarlets and the fine twined linen and the precious clothing and the harlots are the desires of this great and abominable church. Now, see right here, this just goes exactly with it. Look at it, almost $1.4 million in the 1800s. These are the desires of this great church. It's a great and abominable church. And also for the praise of the world do they destroy the saints of God and bring them down into captivity. The whole world praises this abominable church, this church of Satan, because they brought down the Most High's chosen people. They destroy the saints of God and bring them down into captivity. Okay? And it says, And it came to pass that I looked and beheld many waters, and they divided the Gentiles from the seed of my brethren. And that's how, you know, that's why they were not allowed to come over here. They were not allowed to come over here. Okay? They knew that, though. You want to know how they knew that? And they actually put it in that movie. I'll show you guys. In the movie about the Exorcist, the Pope's Exorcist. If you have watched the movie and if you can actually pause it when they show the map, you got to look at it in two different parts of the movie. And one part of the movie, when they're under in the basement part of the abbey, they show a map of where all of the fallen angels are. Right? Remember, they said that anything that happened after 1475 was pretty much something that the devil had his hand in. Correct? Because the devil, you know, the demon had taken possession of the Pope's exorcist. So anything after 1475 was the work of the devil, because he was the exorcist was the one who convinced Queen Isabella to actually go out and do the, you know, go around and killing everybody, right? Um, so that's what he was talking about, right? But if you look at the map shows the entire world. It didn't show only, you know, Europe. Okay? So if supposedly they had no idea that these lands existed, How would they have a map in 1475 that actually showed the entire world and showed where the fallen angels were at? Because if you look at the map, you can see the Americas, you can see South America, you can see North America, you can see you can see Mexico, you see Central America, and you can see where these supposed fallen angels were at, right? So they had a map apparently that showed the whole world. So they were well aware that there were lands over here on the other side of the ocean, which we already knew that they knew because I've done videos on books talking about that. But they knew there was lands over here. They knew the Most High's chosen people were over here. They were just not allowed to come over here. And then later on, of course, the Most High, we messed up, and the Most High allowed them to come over. And that's where the whole Inquisition comes in, and they were killing our people. If we didn't want to convert, they had the Inquisition, they had their papal bulls, they had their justification. But if you watch, like I said, so if you watch the movie in 1475, supposedly they had a map that was showing the whole location of all, 200 fallen angels. And you don't think this stuff is true? You don't think that this information, that they didn't have this information before? See, and when they're writing history, they just kind of have to leave certain things out or show things vaguely, so the vast majority of people who are brainwashed or brain polluted won't put that information together. But as you can see, in 1475, supposedly in this movie, they had a map that showed the whole world, and they're letting you kind of know that they already knew about this place beforehand. They're letting you know all these things in these movies. If you take your time and you really look at it and you really analyze the information, they're letting you know that they knew about what this place was. That's why they call it India, right? Because this is India Superior. That's why they call people here Indians. Not because they thought that they were in India. You can tell real quick that us and the people that are in that certain place of India do not look alike. But that's okay. That's something for another video. But as you can see right here, they've had their hand in all these different aspects of society, and they do also today. But the Most High is giving us knowledge, understanding, and showing us how to put the whole armor of the Most High back on. Our enemies are not just in the churches, they're in all aspects of life, and we are already well aware of that. All praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.